Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First up, Remy, that was a great speech, and I'd like to offer you honorary membership of Racing for Change in the UK. You can come and talk to us anytime. Racing for Change. To describe Racing for Change in one sentence, it's an initiative to broaden the appeal of the sport of horse racing. And why Racing for Change? It's because our stakeholders in the UK, after much consultation, saw that the sport had real challenges and needed to change. We were losing relevance with younger people, we were getting covered less in the media, the betting market was changing, the leisure market was changing and ever more competitive, and the sport needed to make itself relevant. Why call it Racing for Change? Because I think change is an urgent word, and had we called it racing to be a bit better, we think it would just been less catchy. We have 4 key objectives with Racing for Change, and obviously there is much detail behind these objectives, but in short, one is on public relations, to tell our stories better and reach a bigger audience outside of the racing audience. 2 is to lead with our premier sport. All successful sporting models are built on the premier side of things. They're delivering the best stuff. People like to watch the best action, so leading with our good stuff, if you like, putting our best stuff in the shop window is integral to this. Betting, racing and betting are inextricably linked, and as a consequence, racing needs to work harder with its betting partners to maximise its income, and racing no longer, in this day and age, has a divine right to income from its betting partners. We have to be relevant to them too. And importantly, and you touched upon this and you'll talk as well, Remy, the race day experience. When we attract people to the races, we need to give them a good time. If we tell them racing is good when they come, we've got to make sure we deliver that. So what have we been doing? We're 2 years into the project now. We launched in 2009. We have a full-time consumer PR team in place. They only have one job every morning when they wake up, and that's to think about getting stories out there into the media about horse racing. We call them our consumer PR team very deliberately, because racing has a tradition, and we're very good at this around the world, of talking to one another. We internalise so much in racing. We rarely have the customer in mind. So this team is thinking about getting stories out there on a daily basis. We do it in numerous ways, very quirky ways. We do one-off publicity stunts. The Philly Factor was an initiative to find Britain's first ever female racing commentator. I think there was room for them. Looking at the makeup of the room today, there is definitely room for them. That was very successful. We got a lot of PR event outside racing industry. We did a 3-month initiative where we gave people the chance to go racing for free, and with a big promotion nationwide, which got big numbers and big publicity. And I'll tell you more about university students in a moment. We're working more closely with our stars, the trainers and the jockeys, and we've had media training for jockeys and trainers, who, as you know, can often be a little bit backward in coming forward. They're a bit shy, or miserable, or both. We've been working hard to encourage them to step out and tell the stories, because people want to know about the stars. And we're placing stories now on a weekly basis about our fantastic jockeys, our horses and our top trainers. So PR activity on a daily basis, not just on the racing pages, but the wider sporting pages, feature pages, fashion pages, with a bigger audience. We've touched upon this a lot today, this need to reach a younger audience, and we're doing it and we're working hard at it. We've set up university racing clubs around the UK, and we take them not only to the races with their clubs, but to stables to get them close to the horse. And it's critical we get them involved at this stage. There is no payback on students. You know that. Students are generally very poor. 5 years up the line, 10 years up the line, if they've got the bug, they are the owners of the future, they are the betters of the future. So it's important that we work with them. We've launched the horse on Sky Television. There's a very popular programme with a young audience called Soccer AM. So we gave them a horse, and again attracted a whole new audience of young people who could follow that horse through the television programme, and we were very lucky that the horse was good enough to run at Cheltenham. We have our own website called Love the Races, and Love the Races is the entry point if you want to know anything about horse racing. It's very driven by social media, which means that we are talking to one another. So many businesses talk at their customers. Love the Races talks with its customers, and we have 6 or 7 people who work for the website who are customers of different ages and different sexes. They go to the races with video cameras, and they record their experience, they upload it to the site, and they share what they're doing with an audience. So we really, really need to be relevant to people as we go forward. It's critical also that we promote the real heart of the sport, which is that we promote the horse. Even 50 years ago, man and horse were more closely entwined, but nowadays if you live in a British town or city, you can go without seeing a horse from one year to the next, unless there's a riot. And as a consequence, we really want to take the horse closer to people, and we've done some really quirky things. There are some left, by the way, just in the corner. There are some guys I've brought along. I brought as many as I could carry on Eurostar last night. We've got a guide all about the horse, which we give away at race courses. We have it on our website, we have it as a PDF, to actually explain more about what a racehorse is, and what goes into making a racehorse, and where it came from. We make more of our stars. This is an example of a fantastic race recently at Goodwood between two highly rated horses, Canford Cliffs and Frankel, and we need to do that. It's only 2 years ago that we had a fantastic horse that had international resonance in the racing community, was See the Stars. But the biggest bit of media coverage that See the Stars got was upon his retirement. That was the biggest news story in the media. We've lost an opportunity. And we need to learn from that, and we need to tell the stories about our stars now when they are running. And as we know with flat horses, they have short lifespans. In the top left corner is the People's Horse, and this is another new use of social media. This is a horse you can follow on Twitter. It's just at People's Horse. Any of you who are on Twitter here can follow it. And if you follow it, you become an owner of the horse. And through competitions, we give owners badges out, and we get those followers coming racing and getting closer to the racing experience that way. There's a People's Horse website which tells the story of the horse, and the horse sends messages out. We have video updates, and we have stable open days. And again, to a younger audience, that's a great way to hook them in and get them interested. Leading with our premier products is vital, putting our best stuff in the shop window, and a new initiative we launched this year in April was the British Champion Series, which pulls together all of Britain's iconic races, starting at the 2000 Guineas, going through the Derby, Royal Ascot, Goodwood, and ending in a new finale day at Ascot on the 15th of October, which is record UK prize money, £3 million prize money, and through the entries that we've had for the racing meeting, again, it's had resonance. And the reason for doing this is it creates context. To get people interested, to be relevant, you need to tell that story of racing. And flat racing, particularly to the outsider, is complex. They don't understand the difference between the sprinters, the middle distance horses, the stayers, the fillies and the mares, the different age groups. So by putting a series together of all of the key races, it better explains the sport using context. And importantly, you have to have a finale, because without the finale, you've no journey to talk about. Critical to the success of the British Champion Series was getting a sponsor, and as you can see, very well branded there, we have Hipco, a Qatari-based company, who've come in and put 7-figure sponsorship into the series, which is vital to its success. So it's been a good start, and again, it's been very, very positive for British racing. You also need to look after the customers when they come racing. Again, as I said, if you tell a great story and say that it's brilliant, you better make sure it is brilliant. And that's not by doing one specific thing, that's by doing 1,000 things much, much better. And so we're encouraging race courses to think differently about their customers, and to encourage all sorts of different innovations, from how the car is parked, from the catering, to the viewing, to where they talk to the audience. And all of these things are based on making sure that when people come, they have a great time and they want to come back. In the centre there, obviously, is a very well-known jockey, and that was a presentation of a new accreditation from the British Tourist Board to give racecourses a quality mark. So now we've moved a little more into the leisure market as a venue that people want to encourage to attend to. We're obviously measuring all of this. If you don't measure it, you have no idea how it's going. And we have a few hard measures in that tell us whether all this is working or not. Annual racecourse attendance. I mean, if you're telling more stories and getting them out there, it has to come through somewhere. And at the moment, we're targeting for 6.1 million visitors a year. I think if the weather stays as kind as it has done, we will reach that. And I think what's important there is the leisure market at the moment is tough. We are living in very difficult economic times, and yet racing through that is growing. We don't have a problem getting people coming to racetracks, and that's good news. The number of people watching on the television is vital. British Racing is lucky enough to have its own dedicated television programme every Saturday on terrestrial TV, and it has great resonance with betting, and betting numbers go up when it's on television, it's a matter of fact. And so getting more people watching actually come through, and again, we think that looking at the targets for this year, we will surpass that 485,000 average viewer figure. That's our Channel 4 figure. We also have BBC, and again, that figure is going the right way. Racecourse sponsorship and broadcast income. Once again, if you're making yourself more interesting and relevant, you will get more corporate partners. More people will want to buy into what you do. Again, reflecting the difficult economic times that we have, we kept that number really fairly moderate, but again, we think we will hit that target this year, and again, it's another number that's going up on the graph. The big challenge for us in UK racing, as you know, we have a different model with many fixed odds bookmakers, is our share from the gross win of betting. We have to be ambitious, we have to plan for success, so we said we wanted more in 2011. We don't know where we are right now. I would be surprised if we do go past that target. The market's very challenging. More bookmakers have gone offshore and not paying money into the levy, which hurts British racing, but it's an issue we have to address. And on the subject of betting, which other people have done today, we are interdependent, we are inextricably linked to one another, and the best thing we can do for betting here is to be relevant. If more people go racing, more people watch racing, more people read about racing, more people will bet on racing. Our university racing clubs in 2009 was a very easy number. We had 2 or 3. They just weren't really happening. We got 22 up and running in year 1. We aimed to more than double that in year 2, and we're on target for that. And that's great news. That's a lot of people around the country participating in racing. It's a great story for the future. And because we push our PR team very hard, we like to know how many stories they're placing. They placed 1,200 stories of one size or another in the media in 2010. We had 1,800 placed, or will have, by the end of this year. And again, that actually has a big cash value. We're talking millions of pounds of promotional value with the team focused on telling racing story. Attitudes to horse racing are critical. We need to understand what our customers are thinking. And racing has never collectively measured what its customers are thinking. And this year we've launched 2 surveys. The Racing 2015 survey was to existing punters and stakeholders, owners and trainers, and we spoke to over 3,000 people. And our Omnibus survey was a big survey with the general public to get their attitudes on racing. We're at the moment working through all of that data to understand what customers want and what they think about us. But there's another value in doing this that I would urge you to do. It's not just about collecting data from the survey and using it. When you interact with your customer and undertake surveys like this, you're giving them a chance to talk to you, and that level of engagement is crucial. Just to summarise, racing worldwide has fabulous ingredients, and racing for change isn't about changing the core product. People are terrified of the word change. What we're trying to change is the way we present it. We know that we have great drama and great spectacle, we have famous horses, we have iconic races, we appeal to people who like fashion, we appeal to people who like betting. We have many assets, and we score very highly on all of the consumer research we do. All we've got to do is present ourselves better, be more relevant, simplify the language. We've got a great opportunity there. It's been an eventful journey. We've talked about change here today, and we are 2 years into a change programme. It hasn't been easy. My advice to anyone wanting to start a radical change programme in their own territory would be, you need to consult your stakeholders. There are lots of them, and you need to involve them. But critically, you're never going to get universal buy-in. It's impossible in racing. So once you've consulted and got feedback, you have to be decisive. And sometimes, I think we need to go for forgiveness rather than permission, because you don't always get permission. And then when you've moved on from that, the critical thing is to engage with your stakeholders and your customers to keep them updated on what you're doing, because they tend to forget very quickly. That's another crucial one. But at the absolute heart of it all, the critical thing is to keep the customer at the heart of your business. Whether they are your bettor, or your race goer, or your person watching the television, or the person buying a magazine, they are your customer. and very few businesses are successful if they don't put the customer at the heart of their business. Thank you very much for your time.